Really, the international story of the week last week was Kate Middleton, Princess of Wales, announcing Friday in a video message that she was diagnosed with cancer. The reason why this is such a huge story now is because after that announcement, me, probably you, found out that worldwide, more and more people under 50 are developing cancers. Kate's only 42. And I joke all the time about, I don't care about the royal family. I think they're a monumental waste of time, and I do. But this is another level. This is serious stuff, and I don't want anybody's health ever to be in jeopardy. But why are more and more people under 50 developing cancers? That's the big question. And there's early detection out there for you. So with that in mind, I want to bring on Sumit Rai, an expert on early detection for cancer. Sumit, thanks for being on the show, and I know you're inspired to figure out cancer in every way possible because you lost your sister to it. Kind of talk about that, and then what exactly is Cancer Check?
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Cancer Check Labs is our lab, which has developed a screening test to detect solid tumors early, which includes breast cancers, lung cancers, prostate, colorectal, pancreatic, liver, bladder, brain, stomach, esophageal, thyroid, all the organ tumors from which 100 million people a year suffer annually across the globe, Kate being one of them, of course, Princess Kate.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, what does her diagnosis, somebody of her stature on the international stage, what do you think that will do as far as people paying more attention to cancers, specifically cancers developing in people under the age of 50?
I think it'll put a spotlight on it, and I think it'll put a spotlight on the need for early detection. The key to curing cancer for any patient is early detection. Outcomes dramatically shift. Pancreatic cancer is a great example. Pancreatic cancer is often a presumed death sentence. Pancreatic cancer is not a death sentence. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer is usually a death sentence. Stage 1 pancreatic cancer is typically curable. The problem is you'll never find it. To date, there's no screen, really. There's no diagnostic. It's not symptomatic. It's very difficult to detect. And so if they do detect it, however, which happens occasionally on rare instances by accident, they're doing a procedure in the liver, they notice an abnormality, they biopsy it, and they go, oh, we found pancreatic cancer. If they do that, at stage 1, if they find it, it's broken into 1A and 1B. Survival at 1B is about 85%. Survival at 1A is 92%. The test that we've developed at Cancer Check Labs allows you to detect circulating tumor cells in your blood. Research has shown that circulating tumor cells can be detected as early as stage 0. If you start detecting cancer that early, you inevitably are going to drastically improve and change outcomes. Now, with Kate's age only being 42, it obviously brings into light, cancer is not something that just affects old people. Cancer is completely indiscriminate. It doesn't affect, it affects all races, all ethnicities, all socioeconomic classes, all ages, all genders. It doesn't really discriminate. And so, the incidence of cancer is rising rapidly in the younger population, which is very concerning. It's why a lot of the screening guidelines currently are being looked at and potentially are going to be revised downward in age. There's many reasons that that's happening. I'm happy to go into them. Those reasons include things like lifestyle. We live a very sedentary lifestyle today that's prone to metabolic disease like diabetes. It's prone to heart disease. It is not the way your body was designed to be. It is going to create higher instances of cancer. We eat very often. That really starts from the construct of grocery stores about 100 years ago with, I think, the launch of Piggly Wiggly in 1916. This concept of breakfast, lunch, and dinner is a commercial construct that, eventually packaged foods, cereal boxes, later microwave meals jumped onto, but your body was not designed to eat 3 times a day. We historically, as the human race, lived in periods of feast and famine. And the famine stage is very important because during that stage, your body triggers processes, one of which is known as autophagy. auto meaning self, and phagi meaning eating, self-eating in Greek. And what that is essentially your body's internal recycling program, where it goes and looks for damaged, potentially precancerous mutated cells, destroys them, and uses the base amino acids to rebuild healthy cells. When you're constantly stuffing yourself throughout the day and you're not giving your body a chance to do autophagy because you're beholden to a commercial construct of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you are going to increase cancer rates because you're not giving your body a chance to kill off those precancerous cells. I think the third thing that's really driving it for the younger population is environmental exposure. I mean, just about a week or so ago, there was a lab, Valisher, that did a study on many common acne products with benzoyl peroxide. They were looking at Estee Lauder's Clinique. They looked at Target Up and Up. They looked at Clarisil. And, the problem with benzoyl peroxide is it's not heat stable. And when it's not heat stable, it turns into something known as benzene. Benzene is a very dangerous, known toxic carcinogen that causes cancer. In fact, the acceptable limits of benzene, depending on which guideline you're looking at, typically are in the ranges of 1 to 4 parts per million. When they studied these products, they realized that they were generating several thousand, several hundred parts per million, orders of magnitude more than what is acceptable. Now, when you do that and you expose someone to that level of benzene, it causes bone marrow disorders, red blood cell disorders, solid tumors. And to make matters worse, the people that are using benzoyl peroxide in this particular example typically are teenagers. They're going through puberty. They're pubescent. And so what you're doing is you're introducing a highly carcinogenic chemical at orders of magnitude more concentration than you should, which is going to cause cellular damage, i.e. precancerous cells. And you're doing that in a teenager that is surging with growth hormone during puberty. Growth hormone makes everything grow. Good cells, bad cells, cancerous cells, non-cancerous cells, and that is just a very dangerous combination. So when we look at kind of how lifestyle has changed, being sedentary, when we look at our eating habits and frequency and the lack of our ability to conduct autophagy at the rate that it wants to, and we look at some of the environmental exposure, it's no surprise that cancer is rising in the younger population.
Yeah, and I think you hit every base there as far as answering that question, too. So now let's move on to Cancer Check, this early detection tool. How can people get their hands on it?
They can go to cancerchecklabs.com. The test is available for purchase today. It is available in Ohio. There are about 44 states plus D.C. where we can offer it as of right now. We're working on getting state applications done in the remaining 6 states. And so if you just go there and schedule it, you have 2 options. Currently, we have a blood draw center in our launch market, which will start drawing blood July. That's in Dallas-Fort Worth. So if someone wanted to come to Dallas to be tested sooner, they could do that. Alternatively, starting in October, we're planning to have mobile phlebotomy partners that will be able to get your blood draw in that local city in all the major markets.
And it's as easy as just a blood draw, and you can detect known solid tumors from that single blood draw?
That is correct. And the reason for that is, if you have a solid tumor, breast cancer, lung, prostate, colorectal, pancreatic, liver, bladder, et cetera, all the organ tumors from which 100 million of people suffer annually across the globe, the primary tumor itself generally does not kill you. What kills you is the tumor. It can, but it's rare. What kills you is the tumor sheds tumor cells that circulate through your bloodstream, known as circulating tumor cells, or CTCs, the acronym for short. And the CTCs drive the spread of cancer in your body in a process known as metastasis, and the metastatic effects are fatal. That's really how you die from cancer, from solid tumors. You don't die from this lump, generally speaking. Now, a lot is known about CTCs. They've been extensively and exhaustively studied over the past 30 years.
Right.
For example, it is known that CTCs can be detected in the blood, the research has shown, as early as stage 0. What we have developed is a test with a proprietary technology that we've worked on across our companies for the last 14 years that has the ability to filter larger volumes of blood, i.e. what we believe to be statistically significant samples of blood, 40 milliliters, which is about 4 vials, roughly half of what you do at an annual physical.
Right.
We take that blood, it is sent to our lab where it's processed. That processing includes filtering it to detect the presence or absence of CTCs, circulating tumor cells.
Right.
We hope for a
Okay.
negative result. In most cases, you're going to get a negative result. Most people don't have live active cancer. But if we do find a positive result, we'll ask for a second draw. And that second draw, we will run an analysis on the CTCs after filtering them out to look at what proteins they're expressing, to look at some of the DNA expression. And based on those markers, you can then point back to the probable tissue of origin. Where is it coming from? Your breast, your brain, your liver, your pancreas, And the reason it is broad spectrum, to your point, across all these solid tumors is because circulating tumor cells, interestingly, share physical and mechanical characteristics across all solid tumors. They are, from a physical and mechanical perspective, generally uniform and homogeneous.
Okay.
Size, structure. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry I got to cut you off because I'm out of time, Sumit. But do you have a website that somebody could go and check out the early detection tool?
Absolutely. www.cancerchecklabs.com.
Okay. Sumit, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.